Straight on with the question then. Identify and discuss. Okay. Ethical, commercial, and professional. So we can think those through. Ethical, commercial, and professional issues. Recommend any actions that we should take. First of all, looking at grouse. So we've got a lot to think of. Ethical, commercial, and professional issues and actions. So an awful lot to think about. Grouse is this bit here. Okay, so grouse is a significant. There's a key word, isn't it? No need for her to tell me that. No need why. No, don't know why she's telling me it, but I get good at these questions, and I get used to finding out words that I think, why is she telling me that? It's got to be there for a reason. Significant audit client, and they develop software packages. Its management director, Max Partridge, has contacted one of your firm's partners regarding a potential business opportunity. So straight away, a business opportunity. So any business venture with a client represents an objectivity threat. Okay. Precisely because we have self-interest. They're now partners with us. We want them to be happy. We start working with them on different things. We're not as objective anymore, are we? Now, before I carry on with this question, I've got something really important to tell you. If you get a question about objectivity threats, this is how you answer it. Number one, you identify the threat. I've just done that. It's a business venture. Number two, you evaluate its significance. You evaluate its significance. How big a threat is it? And then finally, you use your professional judgment. And you use your professional judgment to see if the threat can be reduced to an acceptable level. If it can, fantastic, go ahead. If it can't, do not go ahead. So identify the threat. Look at its significance. How significant is it? Is there anything I can do that can bring it down to its acceptable level? Okay, so here we go then. It's a business venture with a client. Big self-interest threat. I've identified the threat. How significant would that be? Well, we don't know, but basically we can say the business venture would need to be insignificant. Now, if it's going to be insignificant, then really, what's the point? Because we need to be seen to be independent. It's one of those that you can't really reduce the threat any further. Okay, so you can't really accept it. It'd have to be very insignificant business. Keep going. The proposal is that Grouse Co. So Grouse Co. is the company, Raven & Co. is the auditor, that Grouse and Raven could jointly develop accounting and tax calculation software, and that revenue from the sales could be split between the two firms. Max thinks that our clients, would be a good customer. So, selling tax and accounting software to clients. Okay. Hopefully you identify the threat. It's a self-interest threat. It's a self-interest threat, and therefore you should fully disclose it to your clients. So you think to yourself, right, okay, I'm going to make some money every time I sell accounting software or a piece of tax software to my client. Every time I sell that, I'm going to make some money. So I need to be ethical. I need to say to my clients, look, I've created it. I'm going to make the money on it. I'm fully disclosing it to you. So therefore, I think that is reducing the threat down to an acceptable level. Okay, because you've made it very, very clear. And you make it clear beforehand, obviously. But then there's another issue with this. It's because it's It's because it's accounting and software. If it was something else, if it was selling art to them, and you say, look, I know an art dealer and I can get it cheap for you, but I will be making some money on it, then that's fine. You've disclosed it to them and that's the end of it. But this isn't. This is tax and accounting software. So therefore, there's going to be some self-review. We're going to be evaluating our own system. We're going to be auditing our tax figure that our system created. So how significant is that? Well, it's pretty significant, isn't it? That we're auditing things that we've created ourselves. There is another issue as well. This becomes a non-audit service. And the preparing of a non-audit service, well, that's a threat to objectivity. And we have to be careful that we're not taking on a management responsibility. So one thing you could say is, you could say that the tax and the accounting is solely your responsibility and is nothing to do with us. Maybe get that in writing. And that might reduce it to an acceptably low level. But I still think that this issue of self-review means it is still very, very significant. Okay? And I think the significance would mean that we would have to, we cannot reduce the risk to an acceptable level. So therefore, we would have to stop being the auditor in this case. Now, let's just go back to the question. We've dealt a lot with the ethical issues and some, what about the commercial issues? Being commercial, would you want to get rid of the client? Hang on a minute. Now I know why she's told me that. Would I want to get rid of a significant client? So carry on, I do. I say a significant audit client. Therefore, don't want to lose them. The venture might not work. Well, why might it not work? And that's when you might start thinking about, what's the professional issues here? Okay, professionally, I'm an auditor. So why might the venture might not work? Lack of skills in creating software. Commercially, there's a lot of competition. So overall, we wouldn't do it. Okay, so I think that's how you'd answer that one for the 8 marks. Let's go on to Plover then. So Plover is a private hospital which provides medical services such as laser eye surgery to improve eyesight. So medical services. The audit of its financial statements is currently taking place. The audit senior overheard one of the surgeons who performs laser surgery saying to his colleague that he's hoping to finish his medical qualification soon. Stop there. So, what is the issue here? Well, obviously, you would say, well, it's the medical profession. I'm going to leave that for a second, but obviously the issue is surgeon, not qualified, doing laser eye surgery. Okay, why would you be worried about that? So think about it. As an auditor, why would you be worried about it? And if you can't work that out, think to yourself, well, why would I be worried about it if I was management? Okay, and you would think that, okay, they're not qualified to do it. And if they're not qualified to do it, then somebody might report them, and who they're going to report them to, some sort of authorities, okay, and that should get you thinking about laws and regulations. So the medical profession, highly regulated. So it's up to the management. It's the management who are responsible for the laws and regulations being followed. Auditors are responsible for detecting material misstatements. Okay, so really this bit here is a management issue that the surgeon's not qualified. So the first thing that we should do, we should find out about this. We should find out if they are. Look at his file. Is he qualified? Speak to HR. Okay. Speak to those charged with governance, because this is a huge thing. Maybe they don't know. Okay, maybe they can tell us. Is there a reason? Maybe it's one of those things that you can get. You don't have to be qualified for it, but if it's not, they need to know immediately, because this is a big breach. It's a big issue. So you need to speak to them. Okay, so that would do for now. What else does he tell us? He was glad that Plover did not check his references before employing him. Okay, so we're going to put that in, aren't we? No checking of references in a highly regulated industry. Immediately, this seems a bit dodgy. Immediately, I'm thinking the quality of the client. And what we mean by that is the integrity of the client. Okay, why are they not checking references? And if the integrity of the client, then obviously I'm thinking that they are very high risk, and do I want them as an audit client? I'm thinking of commercial, professional issues here, and ethical, of course. While completing the subsequent events audit procedures, the audit senior found a letter from a patient solicitor claiming compensation for negligence. Okay, so I'm the auditor, I have to detect material misstatements. Well, if we've got legal correspondence, then I am worried about a possible provision. How will I know whether there's been a possible provision? I will look at the date of the letter and of the event. I will speak to management, discuss with management, and look for a possible adjustment. Also, possibly others. Not only that, if this comes about, I am now also worried about the going concern, because it could be that the authority closes them, gets rid of their license. Okay, so if it does that, then that's a big thing. And I've also got to think to myself, do I tell the authorities? If I do tell the authorities, I've got to think about the issue of confidentiality. Remember, confidentiality means we don't tell anybody unless it's in the public interest to do so. And it's quite a tricky thing, this, because it's not defined anywhere. Is it in the public interest? So I will definitely want to get some legal advice before I go speaking to anybody. And then finally, I've got to think about the client themselves. This lack of integrity, this possible provision, let alone that, but possibly being struck off, as we call it. I've got to think professionally and commercially, what about my reputation? Okay, so that's how you'd answer it. And the key to all of this has been trying to think of these three individually. Okay, it's easy to concentrate on one, but then the others might give you a little bit more help. Really, really key in terms of ethics. Identify the threat, think about its significance, think about can it be reduced to an acceptable level. If you follow that framework, you will pass any question on ethics to do with that. And then look, I've just used the whole scenario, as I do at all P papers.